Hello, my name is Erin Mahoney, and I am a second-year psychology student at the University of Cincinnati, and today I will be showing my favorite sensation and perception thing that we have learned so far this year. So, I chose perceiving color, and I find this very interesting how our eyes are able to perceive color and how color is reflected. This, in my mind, I think, how is one's green not another's pink? Or how when is something manufactured that they know that they're making the proper color, like a toy, how do they know that it's red? One thing I always wondered was how we all see the colors the same, aside from people with color blindness, and how do they live their life? And then it poses the cool concepts of color blindness glasses that they've made, and everything just really gets all in my head when I get to that stuff. So, color is not the property of an object, it is actually how the wavelengths are reflected off of a surface and how our brain chooses to interpret those wavelengths. For me, the second I think about that, I think, how do dyes work? How can we dye something if color is just a perception of our wavelengths? Like when we go buy dye from the store and choose to dye a tank top red, how do we know that? How is that working? How are we dyeing the object if it is all just a perception in our mind? Every time that I try to think about that, I just can't, and I think that it's really interesting and cool how that we can do that. So, the retina. There's two types of receptors. We have the rods and the cones. So the rods see light. They see light and dark. They enable our night vision, and there's no color at all. And the cones see all the color, and we mostly see blue, red, and green. Sorry, I'm moving my camera because I couldn't see. And I think that is really cool, and the way that I always memorize that is cones with color, and then just the rods with light. And I never knew that there was so much that went into an eye and the way that we perceive color until we really dove into it in this class. So next, I have an interesting fact, and if anybody remembers the trending dress from 2016 maybe, of the blue and black versus white and gold dress, and this actually brings up what I was just talking about on how we are able to see colors differently and perceive colors differently. And it went absolutely viral because everybody was seeing it as different colors, and I just thought that that was really interesting and something cool to implement here. So, color blindness. Color blindness affects a lot of people, but more predominantly men. 8% of men suffer with some form of color blindness, while only 0.5% of women do. And this actually has to do something with the chromosomes. And infants cannot see color fully. They actually develop color as they get older. Alright, next, our brains actually do more perception of color than our eyes. And I always thought this was interesting because, as one would think, our eyes are seeing the color, so it would be that. But it's actually that our retinas originally perceive the color, but then it passes through into our brain, into our visual cortex, where the brain is to fully perceive the color. Animals and perceiving color. So I did two types here. I did birds and mammals. So birds can perceive much more color than us humans. They'll see a brighter world than we ever will. You can even imagine. They're tetrachromats, so they have 4 cones when humans have 3, and they can also see UV light. So then mammals are dichromats. They only have 2 cones. Cats and dogs see the world in blues and yellows. And I have seen this all over social media and everywhere, to always buy your cats and dogs blue and yellow toys so that they can actually see them, and it brings color and light into their world. And humans gained a 3rd cone via gene duplication, which was the cone that allows us to distinguish between green and red. So, perceiving color. Perceiving color has always been a debate in my family personally because my stepdad is extremely colorblind, and we would always get in arguments when I was little about colors. He knew that I was right, but he would just try to make me upset and make me think that I was seeing things wrong. I just think that the way that our eyes and brain can perceive color so quickly that we never see like gray is fascinating to me, the way that we instantly look at something and it's the color that it is. And another thing that is fascinating is that although it's not perfect and we aren't great night visioners, we do have night vision and we can see things. And thank you. That's all I have for today.